Today is Sunday, June the 20th. This is the video for the week ending June the 18th. And it was a crushing day for the market. Advancers trailed decliners by a full 3-1. But look at the volume in the Dow. This was a major sell-off. This is a lot of activity. When have we ever seen Dow volume like this? NASDAQ volume quite high and down. S&P 500 just as high as the Dow. 1.5% times normal and down. Why? What did it do rather to the McClellan oscillator? Well, it drove it into deeply oversold territory, so we could expect a bounce, but maybe like last time, it'll just bounce back to the neutral line and then pull back again. This is the summertime, remember. Now, why did we know that this was going to happen? Because back here, when we saw this activity peaking with this double top, we said, double top. Where's the Chiku span? Well, the Chiku span was heading down, and now it's under the candles and under the 50. That's critical. We said that the moving average and the cloud intersect was going to be an attraction, and it happened. And what happened? It drove all the way through. But going down isn't over yet. It's quite possible we're going to be looking for support right here. And that would bring our Chiku span somewhere down to the cloud for support. So that's what we're going to be looking for, those kind of coincidences. The NASDAQ, it also had a double top, but it popped up for one day and then pulled back down again. Its 50 has exited the cloud now, so it's sort of gotten away with what the fate of the Dow Jones was. That means that the NASDAQ could continue to be stronger. So that explains why I had a pretty good week, because all I was holding really was NEO, Sava, and Square. So I was really in the tech area, Sava being just a bit different, but you know why I'm holding that one. So the NASDAQ is still showing relative strength. The S&P, however, we said that it was going to drop. Its Chiku span is above the candles, just above the 8 EMA. But look where we got our support, on the 50 and the cloud, which is what we said would happen. Now, it didn't fall below the cloud like the NASDAQ did, so we could look for a bounce in the S&P, and we might go and we might retest this high again. But I don't think that it's time to buy back into anything. Now, the volatility increased a little bit, still in the neutral zone, in the I'm not afraid of the market zone, which indicates that the S&P shouldn't worry too much about too much of a big drop, but we're going to see. Now let's go through some stocks quickly and try to look for some coincidences. Well, we've got Apple that's broken out of the cloud. The Chiku span did not quite get support on the cloud back here, but that's a tech stock that is showing good resilience. IBM came down, support on the 50. NEO, look where its Chiku span stopped. Right here at the top of the cloud. This was the high of the day. Go back to here. Where would the Chiku span have been during the day? Its high would have been right there on the top of the cloud. Another good technical indicator. Square, this is where the area of least resistance is. If Square was going to break out, it would break out where there's least resistance. There's almost no resistance here because we talk about thicknesses of the cloud. Where did the Chiku span finish? On the 50. Again, all the technicals are pointing to that's what you've got to be taking a look at. Sava continues to move higher. I bought more calls. This time I bought the call spread 80-90 July, and I paid $3.20 for it because it's a $10 spread. My profit would be $6.80. So doubling my money and taking a earlier expiry in July. Abbott, 50, perfect support, but the Chiku span is below the candles. AT&T, not a really good day for AT&T. When the dividend stocks start to stumble and sell off, where are people moving from? When they sold all that stock, what did they sell? Well, they also sold a bit of AT&T. Let's look at the volume Not a particularly high volume day, but the banks really hurt. Where did U.S. Bank get its support? Just below the cloud, but finished above the cloud. This is a bit of a upper doji day. Banks are not looking good. If the Fed is not going to increase rates, but inflation is going to go up, that's not good news for the banks. But let's take a look at the biggest bank, and you can see the same thing happened with JP Morgan rather. This big gap down, and look at its stochastic momentum. It's still got a long way to go on the downside, and its relative strength is moving down as well. SMTC, which we looked at, and we're saying, well, let's take a good look at it because that was recommended by one of the top analysts on tip ranks, but it did not break out of this channel. It dropped down and got resistance on the cloud. So this is why we don't want to jump into things. We want to look for the technical indicator. There wasn't much resistance here, but it was still too much, and the cloud continued to be resistance for SMTC as it dropped. Now the 200 was resistance. That's not a stock you want to buy yet. MP had a bit of a rebound, came back to test the 50 again. Now it lost the 50. Again, not a good time to buy it, but if we're looking at Fibonacci's, we even lost the 50% Fibonacci, so not a good time to be moving into this stock. FDX, which we really don't look at that often, support on the bottom of the cloud. Home Depot, really, this is a strong stock and should be doing well, but are people saying that money is going to go, instead of into home renovations, is going to go into travel? That's exactly what they're saying when they're selling Home Depot. CVS, 50 support. Zoom Info, good, look at this. Freedom here, Chiku span, least resistance. This is moving up. This is a stock you want to take a look at, and you want to set an alert where? Right here at this 88.7, and that would indicate that that stock is probably going to move higher. Why? Can't tell you, but the stochastic long-term slower moving is still got some room to move up. And Walmart's the last one we're going to look at. Support on the cloud, Chiku span, dead support on the cloud. So what is the takeaway from this video? Let's try to keep it under 8 minutes. The technicals are working beautifully, even in a market that is certainly now oversold and likely to go for a bounce, but it doesn't mean we're going to have a good summer. I continue to sit on 56% cash right now.